You know what it takes to run trains, but running an entire route, that's another level. Know what a route director does. Yeah. Just briefly, give us an insight of you.
So a route director then, so I've got Wales and Borders.
They look at you and think, do you know what, I want to be the next Nick Millington.
Maybe I should not tell all my secrets, but I'm going to. My strong view is that management and leadership is a privilege. People that deliver the railway, be it the infrastructure or the train operations, are the true heroes in our industry. I genuinely believe that. So this last weekend, the standard changed and you are now not allowed to work on an open railway line above 25 miles an hour, where the only form of protection is your eyeball. Yeah, exactly. I think that is a big change. Near misses between track workers and trains is reduced by 80%. I've got a real passion for it as well, and people who know me know that. There's a lesson here, by the way. Yeah. The railway industry changes quite a lot. Restructuring, we're just about to go towards GBR now, so it's going to change again, right? Yeah. So in my first 15 years, I probably went through restructuring every 18 months, right? And I remember...
Was that scary at the time?
And if that manager says, I haven't got time, you might want to think about whether you're in the right job. But I think about diversity and inclusion. If you look at the rate of change in the railway industry, my part of it that I'm in at the moment, I would have to live to be 200 years old at the current rate to see a workforce that represents the community that we serve.
Pleasure to meet you, Nick.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah. Funny enough, we actually did meet already. Met a briefly at the award show. Anyways, what inspired you to join the railway?
I had to really think deep down and far back about how did it start? Okay. And as far as I could remember, when I was about 4 years old, I had my tonsils out. You probably wonder where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But I was in hospital, and Queen Elizabeth II visited the hospital. Anyway, when I had my tonsils out and I got better, my dad was in the RAF, had no interest in railways at all. He had an interest in aeroplanes and cars. But he took me to see one of the new Intercity 125 trains at Exeter when I was literally 4 years old. And the driver showed me the cab, and that's the first thing I remember. So I've always been interested in aeroplanes, helicopters, air transport, rail transport, road transport. So transport, I think, and engineering. And I think it started back then. All right.
Can you talk us through your career path and how you eventually become a route director?
I didn't know what I was going to do when I was at secondary school. I genuinely wasn't really sure. And I had this interest in engineering and transport. And my mum's friend bought an advert from a local newspaper for a railway apprenticeship and said, hey, Nick, what about that? And I applied for it. I came second. The person who came first didn't want it. And they rang me back the following day and said, do you want it? And I said, yes. So I started off as an engineering apprentice, and that was 35 years ago. Wow. And it feels like 5 minutes, by the way. Wow. So time flies. Yeah. And that was straight after I did my secondary school exams, my GCSE. So I was 16 years and 2 weeks old. Wow. But coming from then, I've done all sorts of things. And that is why the railway is wonderful. You can choose your own career, I believe. So I have. I wanted to be a chartered engineer. I made that commitment to myself before I left school, but I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. But as soon as I got in the railway industry and in the engineering part of the railway industry, those possibilities become obvious.
So after your apprenticeship, what was your first role, if that makes sense? The actual job title?
At that point, the railway was one entity. Oh, okay. It was before it was privatised. Okay. So I was taken on as a mechanical and electrical engineer, and you fix anything from trains to extension leads to station light, everything. Yeah. And through my apprenticeship, the railway started to separate before privatisation, and I took an interest in the yellow machinery that fixes the track. It was interesting. Okay. It had all sorts of hydraulics, pneumatics, all sorts on it. Electronic control systems. Yeah. So my first job after my apprenticeship was fixing that machinery. So big multi-million-pound machines that fix the track at night, operating, well, mainly maintaining those, but I could operate them as well. I understood how they worked. And that was my first job.
What was your shift? Was it a shift work, was it, or?
It depended, really. Okay. So The machines always worked at night because the railway's open during the day, which is just normal, and that's the same now. So if the machines were on maintenance, so you had to maintain and inspect them and do certain things to them, you could be on a day shift in the workshop. But if they're out working, you're out with the machines working. So if you're with a tamping machine doing the track alignment, it would be Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. If you're doing track renewals at a weekend, a crane or something like that, it would be a Saturday night, Sunday night. So you just worked when the machines worked. Okay. Or when they didn't work, you're fixing them.
So what was your next role after that? Hopefully I could try and jog your memory a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah. So, my first job we talked about. Yeah. Very quickly then, I went on to a technical officer's job, so a more senior technical role. I then moved across from mechanical and electrical engineering into civil engineering, so permanent wage track. And really, my career then, I was going to college, I was getting my qualifications, earning and learning. It's a phrase I use quite a lot. I still am, by the way. But I then went into designing and installing track, and then carried on beyond that. The maintenance of Network Rail was, the railway infrastructure was outsourced at that time, but it became insourced into Network Rail. The minute I came into Network Rail, I was able to then do a job managing engineering infrastructure, so asset management. And then I went into introducing new machinery, technology, but using that asset management skills as well as my previous plant skills. So I became a kind of senior project manager. After that, I did the led the development of the Reading Station scheme, which is fantastic, and I go through there now. But in my garage, I've got the Grimshaw's architects' sketches. I'm not sure if I should have those, but I have got them because they made me a set for me. But I did the development work of what you now see as Reading Station. Wow. So that was in, I don't know, probably 2007, 2008. Beyond that, I then went on to more senior kind of roles in delivering of engineering projects. And then a national safety director's job, I got them. Really, I learnt a lot from that job. And then from there, I became the chief of staff for what was then the chief exec of Network Rail. And that job was a good job. I learnt a lot from that job, but it's too far away for me from the operational railway. I like to be in amongst the railway. It's a living and breathing animal. I like to be close to it. My preference.
You're always
That's
on the
it.
tracks.
So I got an opportunity then to become the maintenance director for the Western route, so Paddington here down to Penzance and across to Bristol and up to Worcester. Fantastic, Brunel's Railway, and I was looking after it. I felt hugely privileged. I've always had a passion for safety. Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute.
Exactly.
But then, very sadly, there was a fatal train accident. Two of our track worker colleagues got killed in South Wales in 2019.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
I've been really passionate about separating track workers from trains all of my working life. I've got a real passion for it as well, and people who know me know that. So the chief exec of Network Rail asked me to lead a project to a safety task force, if you like, to change at an industry level the way that we access the railway with our track workers. So basically the use of technology, better planning, cultural change, all sorts of things, intelligent infrastructure, and basically remove the need to work on a railway when it's open. And we've done that. So this last weekend, the standard changed, and you are now not allowed to work on an open railway line above 25 miles an hour, where the only form of protection is your eyeball. I think that is a big change. Other infrastructure managers of railway systems in the world, I've been approached by Australia this week saying, how have you done it? The reality is we have done it. Near misses between track workers and trains has reduced by 80% as a result of that. So I'm very proud of that. You can probably tell.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
But when, after 3 years of doing that, I was asked to be the route director, or to go in there as a temporary, if you like, as a kind of secondee to become a route director in Wales. Hey, listen, it was another opportunity to get close to the kind of operational cutting face of the railway. I jumped at it. And I applied for the job about 6 months later, got the job, and I'm still doing the job now. So it's a great job.
Do you remember going for the interview and everything?
I remember going for the interview, yeah.
See, at this is not on here, by the way. Yeah. See, at this level, like going for interviews for like route director, what is that like? Do you feel like all your interviews before made you ready for that?
When I was younger,
yeah.
I may not be that old, but I was younger at one point.
You look young.
Yeah. But when I was younger, right, there were times, incidentally, maybe I should not tell all my secrets, but I'm going to.
I appreciate it.
That's fine. I used to apply for jobs even if I didn't want them.
Oh.
I'd go and get interview practice.
Oh, I see.
And then sometimes I didn't know what I'd do if I was offered the job, but that's a different problem.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get interview practice and do it live, so you feel that kind of edge.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you got them right, sometimes you, on reflection, think, I could have done that differently. But what you do is get better.
Oh, I see.
So that's, I guess, over time, practice.
Practice, okay.
And don't worry about getting things wrong.
Yeah.
If you get things wrong, you're only learning. It's okay.
I think that's a good takeaway, actually. I never thought of that. Just apply anyway and get practice, yeah. Because there's nothing better than actual live.
I always had a plan, so my professional development plan. Me and my friend Spike at primary school, we had a career conversation when we were about 7 or something. Yeah. Spike said to me, I said to Spike, what are we going to do when we leave school? And Spike said, I'm going to be a chartered accountant. I thought, I don't know what that is. So what am I going to be? Let's think about it then. And I said, I'm going to be a chartered engineer. I am a chartered engineer now. But the railways, if you look at when I joined as an apprentice, it took me 17 years, but I had a plan for every year. Like, I've still got those plans. I have a plan for development every single year, and I've still got them all. Wow. But I had a plan to get my certificates. Eventually, I went to university. I got a degree in civil engineering. I then became a chartered civil engineer, a fellow of the Institution of Civil Engineers, and I'm now a fellow of the Royal Academy of Engineers. And I'm very proud of that. I'm grateful to the railway industry. I worked hard as well, but I'm very proud of it.
See, you say you had a plan, and obviously it took you 17 years.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, how did you stay focused on where you wanted to be, considering, because obviously people are hearing this now and they're thinking, wow, 17 years, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay focused on the target? Like, because if you look around, like, at social media and like stuff like that, everything, like, people want things now, like everything's now. I feel like the way the life is at the moment.
I do think a pitfall with social media is that you can have all of the nice things that you see.
Exactly.
Whether they're nice behind the scenes is another thing. But you can have all the nice things that you see. You can have it now. It's accessible.
Exactly.
And the reality is, my lived experience is, it didn't like that. My lived experience is I had to work hard. I often got things wrong. Then you try again. Never give up. But the chartered engineer goal was something that I set myself probably in primary school.
Wow, that's amazing. And
then I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I had this kind of North Star, and it was there, and it was always there. I thought I was going to become a chartered mechanical and electrical engineer, but I had the North Star. It was there, and there was a restructuring in the railway industry. There's a lesson here, by the way. And I was told, your job's finished. There's no job there now. So what do? Do you stop? Or do you adapt? Adapt, of course you adapt. Exactly. Yeah. So I went across to civil engineering, so permanent way engineering, and just carried on up. And then and I guess an emotional thing, when I decided to become a railway apprentice, my dad said, you're not doing that. I said, I am. He said, you're going to go to university. I said, not yet, but maybe, but not now. And 2 weeks before my dad died, I was able to take my dad to 1 Great George Street, which is the Institution of Civil Engineers headquarters, and I stood up on the stage and I got my scroll. And my dad was there, he's very poorly. He almost didn't make the journey to London. So I was so proud to be able to say to Dad, look, I didn't do what you said when I left school, but it's all right, I'm okay.
Exactly,
And for me, I've got the kind of hairs going up on the back of my neck now when I think about it. But my dad died slightly after that. But for me, that was a moment where I thought I was able to show my dad everything's okay.
So I guess in a way your why was so strong it kept you on course.
Really strong, yeah. So there's a few things I would say. My advice to other people would be: there is that North Star, right? Have a passion, have a sense of direction, and then have an approximate plan how you're going to get there. Steps. You're not going to do it in one step, and you're just not going to do that.
Exactly.
But then the other thing is, every year, review your plan, make a bit more progress, bite-sized bits. Every single day, make progress. I reckon I make progress every single day on something.
Was there ever a moment where you thought that I'm sort of stagnating here, or
Never.
I'm on the track? Never?
No. I always had a plan. So I was always following a plan. Okay. And sometimes I had to change the plan, and that's fine. Okay, yeah. But I remember in my early career, having a career conversation, to say what I wanted to do. Yeah. And the person said to me, "I'm really sorry, Nick, but for you to do that, it's a kind of, someone's got to leave or someone's got to die." And that's how it was then. Oh. And therefore you'll have to wait. But for me, that was a kind of very, very clear signal. This place doesn't suit me. Oh, I loved what I was doing, but it was time to change. So I had to adapt and navigate to do what I wanted to do. Hey, respectfully, I'd always be respectful. I love the industry, I love the people, but that was a very clear signal to me that I had to do something to make an adjustment. So
I guess in that scenario, when someone is feeling maybe stagnant, maybe it possibly means they need to
make a change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Was there any particular turning point that helped your progression into senior leadership?
Yeah, absolutely there was. The railway industry changes quite a lot. Restructuring, we're just about to go towards GBR now, so it's going to change again, right? Yeah. So in my first 15 years, I probably went through restructuring every 18 months. Jeez. Right? And I remember
change. Scary at the time, sorry.
So this is the lesson, by the way.
Okay.
Right. So I used to see restructuring as fear and threat.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you think, oh, I'm going to lose my job, or it's going to be worse, or it's going to be bad. And you look at your feet and you see the floor. And I was on a leadership course, and the person that was sat opposite me, who I was talking to, said, "Nick, this is quite a powerful thing in you about when things change, you fear, you threat, that's your response. What else could you think? What other reaction could you have?" And I said, "I could absolutely thrive in change. I could do that."
You could do that, yeah.
And she said, "Well, why don't you?" And I thought, "I don't know. I genuinely don't know either." Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, let's try it. So for me, I don't say this flippantly either, by the way. Yeah. I have a saying, and people who know me, I've used it: in chaos is opportunity. So in change is opportunity. Yeah. Hey, listen, running a railway is a structured thing, all right? And you've got to have structure, and that's wholly important. But in life, there's uncertainty. But you can look through that uncertainty and see opportunity. Try it. I did, and then the first restructuring, well, that worked. Second, well, and that worked again. So if you look at some of the things that I've done certainly over the last, I would say, 15 years of my career, I've gone towards things that put me out of my comfort zone, that drive change, and it's worked for me. And my advice to others would be, don't fear change. It's going to happen. If change is going to happen, it's going to happen, isn't it? What you might as well do is spend your conscious effort looking for opportunity. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, true. All right. What advice would you give someone early in their railway career who wants to progress into a leadership role? For example, someone like you. Yeah. They look at you and think, do you know what? I want to be the next Nick Millington.
My strong view is that management and leadership is a privilege. Yeah? It's not a right, it's a privilege, right? The railway industry is here to serve people that use the trains, or businesses that use the railway if it's freight. Yeah. The people that deliver the railway, be it the infrastructure or the train operations, are the true heroes in our industry. I genuinely believe that. And therefore, management is a privilege. So you should treat it as a privilege. And you are only as good as your people, And therefore, unless you spend that time enabling them to be brilliant, why would you not do that? Yeah. Is a kind of rhetorical question. But one thing, I guess, a piece of advice I give to people is, what I've noticed over the years in the industry are, this is kind of a generalism.
It's all right.
Yeah. People are always really good at doing the job they used to do. But if you change, you're not doing that old job. You're doing the new job. Right? And if you're doing that new job, you can't do the old job. You can't do that, okay. And neither should you either. So my advice would be, is so leadership and management is a privilege. Okay. Treat it like that. I enjoy it, and you should enjoy it. But then what you should do is surround yourself with people you want to be like. There'll be some people you don't want to be like. Note that. Don't be like them. But you can surround yourself with a good group of people that will help you be successful. You either, I say copy them, but mimic them, or there'll be the people that when you get that challenge that you're not really sure what to do, they will give you the best food for thought. So don't be scared of it. Do it. But remember, you're doing a new job, and give yourself some credit for that and some slack, and make sure that you surround yourself with the right kind of people, have a plan for that job, always going back to have a plan, and then you're there to serve your people. You should never forget that.
And how does one, let's just say for scenario, let's say they join the railway and they're a cleaner, they're cleaning carriages, for example. Yeah. How would one navigate from that scenario? Is it a case of always looking out for opportunities, searching on websites, constantly looking for what's going on? And how does one get himself surrounded around...
Or herself.
Yeah, herself. Sorry.
Or themselves.
Yeah, themselves, yeah, exactly. Thank you for correcting me.
That's all right, no, that's fine. I'm assuming the person, the metaphorical person we're talking about has got a plan, a North Star. I want to be a something.
Exactly.
Which is great. Have that. Okay. Have a passion for that as well. Okay. That passion will just come out of you, won't it? Yeah. When you have your one-to-one with your manager, you can talk to your manager and say, can I talk to you about what are the career opportunities here at Network Rail, Great Western Rail, Great British Railways? And if that manager says, I haven't got time, you might want to think about whether you're in the right job. But
I love your honesty.
No, but it's true. You can choose your manager. Choose a good one. And there are bad managers out there. But if you can choose your manager, choose a good one. And bad managers, if people did that, they would have no one working for them. And there's an irony in that as well. But you should have a conversation, and those increments I referred to, for over 17 years, by the way, were not built in a day. Okay. So I made progress every day. I learnt things, I went on courses, I took on more responsibility. I mean, another good thing I'd say as well is never give your boss a problem. Okay. Give them a solution. You will see problems that your boss doesn't know that they've got. Right, that's not being disingenuous or anything like that. But my view is the railway's full of challenges and it can always be better. When you speak to your boss, one of the other things principles, if you like, every interaction is an opportunity, if you choose it to be. That could be a bad interaction, by the way, in which case don't be surprised if you get a kind of negative response. But you can flip it to a positive response. So every time you meet somebody, you talk to somebody, you shake their hand out on the platform. So if you were to sit with your boss, and say, I've got an idea, I've seen this, I think there's a safer way to do this. Can we just chat about that? Or there's a more efficient way of doing this. I don't know any sensible boss who's going to say, no, you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They'll be pleased, true.
But there's something in that. And then what you'll get noticed for solving problems. Yeah. And then when there's a conversation, because there's always problems, when there's a conversation between managers about, I've got this big problem, they're like, go and see such and such. They will solve your problem. And genuinely, I would say that's a really good piece of advice. I see. Hey, listen, I've known people in my railway career that have given problems. And I speak to them 20 years later and they say, Nick, how did you get on? Why am I still here? If they can't see it, they ought to. I can.
No,
they're good people. I like them. Don't get me wrong, exactly, but there's a certain irony in that what I just said.
For people who may not know what a route director does, just briefly, give us an insight of you. We're going to have to do some filming one day. Follow you around and see what...
You're more than welcome to come out for a day. We'll definitely line that up. So a route director then, so I've got Wales and Borders. Okay. There are 13 routes in Network Rail. So Wales and Borders is over 1,000 miles of railway. Okay. It's got about 50 signal boxes. Oh. It's got 400 signallers. It's got 4,000 Victorian structures. Oh. I've got 600 maintenance staff. I've got capital renewals spend budget of £1 billion. Wow. I've got operational spend over 5 years of nearly £1 billion. We've got income over 5 years of 500 million. Wow. We've got enhancement to the railway over 5 years, about 500 million. So quite big numbers, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. I like that, off the top of your head. 200
stations, incidentally, I'm full of numbers. But first and foremost, it's to keep everyone around the railway safe, without any question. Okay. I've got over 1,000 level crossings where the public cross the railway. Yeah. And the public won't always understand the railway risk like we do. Exactly, yeah. So first and foremost, if you look at those railway assets, if you look at the people that interface with the railway, on trains, around the railway, at station, all of that, keeping them safe. Keeping your people safe. So your signallers, your track work, everyone's safe. So that is the first thing in my mind always, and I've got a permanent sense of chronic unease about it. I can feel it now, where I think to myself, I wonder if this happened, I wonder if that happened. Challenge that, check this, ask that question. I do that all the time. I feel like I have to. Yeah. So that's in a conscious effort. But having said that, going back to the people that I've got 1,500 people. Yeah. We train them, they're skilled, they're passionate, I trust them. And you can't do everything yourself. So if you put in place a good team with good supervisors, good managers, good leaders, good management systems, effective assurance, that safety unease can be addressed through that. So we deliver about 1,000 services a day across the Wales and Cross Borders network. That's about 5,000 station stops. Wow. We deliver about 600 loaded freight trains every 4 weeks. So if you look across the Wales and Cross Borders network, the main customer is steel, Port Talbot Steelworks, but we deliver about a dozen 3,000-ton petroleum trains a week from Milford Haven into Theale near Newbury and Westerly near Bristol. Aggregate from various places, Macon, Morton-on-Lug, Penman-Mower, Llandudno Junction, but also timber to the paper mill. To the mill at Chirk, Cronospan, nuclear fuel, you name it. Containers to Wentloog, Tesco products. 2 trains a day for Tesco's. Wow. I'm surprised 60 containers.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm surprised you know everything about all what the freight trains are carrying as well.
In my various travels, visits, I make a point, in fact I've just been with Jess Lippett now, who's our regional freight manager. We visit our freight customers. We listen to our freight customers. We want to understand how their business ticks and what the rail industry can do to help them be successful. So I learn by talking, listening. So
by looks of things, you're accessible to everyone.
I try to be.
Yeah.
There is an illusion with social media though.
Yeah, exactly.
You can be everywhere and always.
Exactly, yeah.
But the reality is it's only me.
Yeah.
But having said that, one of the good things about social media is you can be open, accountable, available, principled.
Exactly.
And I do that.
Oh. So would you say you're all over in terms of your job role? You're like everywhere basically on the network. There's no one specific place to find you.
There is a place where I am more often than not, and that would be our offices at St Patrick's House in Cardiff near Central Station. So that is our head office in Wales and Borders, and principally I'm there. But you don't run a railway sat behind a desk.
Exactly. I was going to say.
Yeah.
Because most of your videos, I see you're on a track most of the times.
You don't run a railway sat behind a desk.
Yeah.
Although, having said that, if you're dealing with political stakeholders, if you're dealing with that sum of money or safety responsibility, you obviously have meetings.
Exactly. Yeah.
That said, I have to balance that with getting out there and seeing how the railway's operating, and I think that's hugely important. Mm. So, 50 signalling locations, a number of maintenance locations, number of customers. My leadership team in Wales and Borders, in the first 6 months of this year, we have done and recorded 750 leadership site visits.
Wow.
In 6 months.
That's amazing.
Because it's important for leaders to be out there.
To be out there, yeah, exactly.
You cannot understand how a business is running sat behind a desk telling people what to do.
What to do, yeah.
But equally, if you look at organisational apathy, when you've invested that time and you've got that experience and you've gone and taken the time to listen, if somebody in your organisation said, you don't understand, you're absent, you can say, hang on a minute, I do understand, I'm not absent.
Exactly.
What's your role in this?
Yeah.
You have a right to respond to that in a polite way. And therefore, we spend a lot of time with our team.
That's amazing. I've always believed in that as well, being out there.
Really important.
Yeah. What's the biggest challenges involved in managing a route? I was going to say, has ever been a scenario where you've seen something on your network and you felt, you know what, I don't think that's right, you had to challenge it?
Hundreds of times each day. I'm not joking either.
No way.
People who know me will know what I'm like.
Yeah.
But that chronic sense of unease is with me all of the time. I mean, there are different. I mean, I don't worry myself to, ill health with it.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm conscientious with it. And if we have a safety concern, I will always instantly act on it if I see it. Always. If we're delaying passengers on trains, I think about their journeys. Have they got hospital appointments? Have they got important job interviews? And I think to myself, if we can do better, we should. And we should as well. Yeah. So that, but then sometimes you've got to step back a bit and look at more strategic issues, the climate change, heavy rainfall, investment in technology, management of 4,000 Victorian civil engineering structures. Have we got enough money?
Yeah.
Where am I going to get tomorrow's workforce? There's a whole load of things you can think about. So that's on my mind all of the time, but I'm okay with it. I'm genuinely okay with it. So I think about it a lot. I'm conscientious about it. I've got a sense of unease, so I don't rest, but that's me. And I don't make no apology for that. Yeah. But there are many days where I've gone to work and I thought, I didn't expect this to happen today. Genuinely.
Yeah.
But that's, I guess, the excitement of working in the rail industry.
You see, in your job, do you like dealing? Like, let's say you see something that you don't like. Would you try and get in contact with the person or maybe their management?
The person.
Okay. That's good. So you go directly to the source and challenge them. Yeah.
The other day, I was in Cardiff and I saw we've got a policy about using traffic, pedestrian crossings. We expect our people to be careful on and around the railway. And if you're a manager, you can show a bit of safety leadership by doing that crossing the road, certainly outside the office at St Patrick's House, because it's a busy road.
Yeah, exactly.
And I literally, as I was walking out the office, I saw somebody literally cut right across the road in front of moving traffic, and I had to have a conversation with them there and then. Because I think to myself, firstly, that person could have been run over, but then I think to myself, how many people watch that person do that and think that's an acceptable level of safety assurance, and it isn't?
Yeah.
But you do that in a polite way.
In a polite way, yeah.
You do it in a constructive way. One of the techniques I use, because I genuinely feel this as well, some of our people take risks. Some of them people take more risks than we want them to. We buy good safety equipment, we have good plans, all that sort of stuff. And incidentally, risk is statistics and it's numbers. There's likelihoods, probabilities.
Exactly, yeah.
When I've seen somebody do something, I had a conversation. I said, look, if I was to sit around your dinner table with your family, you're not allowed to speak. You've just got to listen. And I speak to your family and say, your loved one they've got 20 times the risk doing it that way than doing it this way, or 100 times the risk if they do it that way, what would you want your loved one to do?
Yeah, that's true.
And I want your family to answer it, and I want you to not interrupt and listen. It's a really effective way of making people think.
Yeah,
I can tell you that, because
you're involving their loved ones, and
if I went to sat around someone's dinner table and said, "Do you realise your loved one is working on a live open railway? The trains are running at 100 miles an hour, and in a split second, if they get hit, they'll never ever come home."
Wow.
And it's as serious as that.
It's serious,
yeah. Whereas if you separate your work, you plan, you protect, the principles of say separation. We know that you can be hundreds, if not thousands, of times safer in terms of statistical risk. Why wouldn't you do that?
Exactly, yeah.
And incidentally, your family needs you to do it.
Yeah, this is it. The family needs you around.
But I feel that deeply.
Yeah.
I've spoken with families that of railway colleagues that have been fatally injured in accidents. It's awful. And it genuinely is one of the worst things I've had to do in my career. And we owe it to every other family of any other colleague now and in the future to not let that happen.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. What are your biggest challenges with managing the route?
How long have you got? I'm joking,
Okay.
but I could make a long list.
All right, you can summarize.
I mean, genuinely. So there's a number of challenges.
Yeah.
We've talked about the safety challenge quite deeply.
Exactly.
That will always be there, and you can never do enough.
Exactly.
So that's always going to be a big challenge. Yeah.
Okay.
Level crossing safety. If you look at asset safety and keeping our colleagues safe, all of that. But if you look at then other challenges, I worry about climate change and the railway industry. So Wales and borders geographically is the first place where Atlantic storms hit. We've got 1.1 million trees on the line side. 40,000 of those trees have got ash dieback, which is a degenerative disease. If you look at intense rainfall, if you look at the Victorian embankments, I've got 7,000 of those. But I genuinely, if you look at wind speed, heavy rain, climate adaptation, that is a true challenge, and we should not ignore it. I'm not saying we are ignoring it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you overreact, you're probably still not doing enough.
I see.
So flooding and trees that fall on the railway and high wind speeds and all that sort of stuff. So it's frequent and it's often. But having said that, there are a number of things that we can do to adapt the railway to put up with it, and we should be focused on that. So that's a challenge. Yeah. Train performance, big challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So trains on time. Who wants to run a bad railway? I don't, by the way.
Yeah.
But if you look at getting trains more punctual, I feel passionately about that. Who wants to turn up late? Who wants to miss a flight or an appointment? Yeah. It's not fair and it's not right. I understand why it does happen. And therefore, our focus should be on driving a railway system that people can depend on and we're proud of. So that's a challenge. But that'll always be there, by the way. But then I think about tomorrow's workforce. If you look at it, I think about diversity and inclusion. And if you look at the rate of change in the railway industry, my part of it that I'm in at the moment, I would have to live to be 200 years old at the current rate to see a workforce that represent the community that we serve. That's not good enough. So and also the other thing as well, if you think about it, if you look at the skills that we need to run the railway next, by being that lack of inclusivity, we're denying ourselves that talent. That's not right. Yeah. We need that talent, and I'm not going to live to be 200 to see it arrive. Yeah. So we've got to do something quicker. Is my genuine view. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice of you to think of that. Not a lot of people do. Just to add on to that, I thought one of your challenges would have been, obviously, you know, when you work in a safety critical environment, I thought like uncomfortable conversations. So, you let's say something goes wrong and it's because of a particular individual. In a normal job, you might get a slap on the wrist, but in this job, like, you know yourself, you might have to make uncomfortable decisions. Yeah. Someone losing a job. I thought that would have been the toughest part of your job, but when things go pear-shaped, someone made the wrong decision.
Another one of my learnings, statements.
Yeah.
One of the kindest things you can do is have a difficult conversation.
Oh, I see.
Right. That doesn't mean to say that you fire people.
Okay.
It doesn't, I genuinely, I've done things wrong in my career. What I didn't need was to be sacked because of that. I need somebody to say, that's not right. Have you thought about doing this? That's unacceptable. Have you thought about? So setting some clear expectations. I have those sorts of conversations all the time. I haven't sacked anybody, but I do expect the best. And therefore, that you said about challenging and asking questions, right? Yeah. I absolutely want the best. I want the best for the industry. I want the best for the people. And the only way that you can do that is set a high bar. And the only way that you can set a high bar, you can't do it all yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got to kind of do it in a way that is sensible and say, what would need to be true for that outcome to happen, and let people work it out.
What safety issues do passengers rarely see and take the most effort behind the scenes?
I would say the biggest challenge that we've got, safety-wise, is the communities and the society that we operate within. And by that I mean trespass and suicide. So if you look at trespass events in Wales and Borders, we have 800 a year. And when you actually look at what happens when a trespass event takes place, that person could come into contact with some pretty big hazards.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, if you look at it, tens of thousands of people are displaced, train crew or railway response staff, the emergency services are all diverted. It's a challenge. I mean, one of the most horrendous things that we have to deal with is suicide on the railway. I responded to a few myself, and the public, some will know. I'm not, I know they would understand the kind of context of what I'm talking about here. But when you actually think about it, our people don't come to work to deal with that, but they do deal with it. Sometimes passengers get angry. That's not fair. We need to give better information, in fairness, when things go wrong. But in the middle of a very kind of emotional situation, what we don't want is anger from passengers. We want patience. But I would say that, the biggest challenge I think I've got, because it's so hard to control it. There are some things, engineering, you can control it. Yeah, you know what to do, you do something, you have a plan, you do it, you get an outcome. But if you look at mental health in society, if you look at trespass, if you look at the kind of irreversible impact of suicide, our people that use the train, I wouldn't expect them to know it, to be fair, but that's, I would say, the answer to the question you've asked there.
Yeah, makes sense. How do you balance improving performance and maintaining absolute safety?
Good railway infrastructure will perform well, and good railway infrastructure needs to be understood, inspected. It needs to have monitoring. It needs to have maintenance, and if it becomes worn out, it needs to be refurbished or renewed. You need a plan. So, but if you have a set of infrastructure that does that, then it'll be safe. It'll perform. So it comes together. One of the things I do think as an industry we do need to work harder on is the base timetables. So if you look at, not going into the detail, but it's really important that if you look at the base timetable, something as simple as, in the summer, in the holiday locations, you get more passengers with suitcases. If we haven't got enough dwell time at the stations, that train is never going to perform. So that's just one example. There are others. But if you look at the base timetables, we've got to have a base timetable that works. But balancing safety with performance, my genuine belief is a good plan that's got competent people that are trained with the right equipment, the right schedule, and it's going to be safe, and it's going to perform. So it comes together.
Yeah. I know this is a bit off topic, Have you ever been travelling on any sort of train, any TOC, and then there's a freight train right in front?
Many times. Many times.
And it's slowing down the whole all the trains and all the notes. You're just like, who put that freight train there?
There might be a reason for it, though.
Yeah.
So if you look at some of the freight trains are 2,000 or 3,000 tonnes, maybe more. Yeah. If you look at it, it may be that they've got to get to somewhere to avoid a bigger problem happening. Oh, it may be that they're late because of a fault that's not their own. Yeah. I mean, the freight business is really interesting. If you look at the margins in rail freight, it's private sector, all of it, and therefore the margins are really thin, and therefore punctuality is really quite important. And certainly if you look at, I mean, Tesco's that run into Wentlug, they've got a fleet of lorries there literally waiting for that train to arrive to take the containers that last mile or whatever, the last distance. Yeah. So there are some regulating decisions by signallers that will, that maybe would, give rise to someone asking a question why they've done that. Yeah. But there are many decisions always where they've done it for good reasons. But you may not know what those reasons are.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to,
Yeah.
All right. What are the most common causes of delays on your route? Like, would you say? Okay,
so it's changed a little bit in this last year. So previously it would be external factors. So it would be storm events or it would be trespass. Yeah. What we had earlier in this particular year, fixed infrastructure, we've had a problem with certain parts of our fixed infrastructure asset base. So principally what we know as axle counters, train detection systems. And they're coming to the middle of their life. And we had a midlife upgrade programme and it's made them worse. Oh dear. We've spent a lot of money doing that. And I wish the outcome would have been better than it is. But what it has done is caused problems. So, and we've had to learn, so we've had to work with the equipment manufacturers. So this year so far, it's been basically fixed infrastructure, axle counters and points. But the points are quite easy to kind of get in amongst and do something to stop them repeat failing. Yeah. The axle counters, it's been a bit more challenging for us. But we're in that time of the year, winter storms. So, this year it's been fixed infrastructure.
How do you work with operators like GWR to improve performance together?
I make the effort to make it seamless. And that sounds maybe like a buzzword, but it isn't. I work very closely in Wales and Borders with Transport for Wales. We've got a joint performance improvement cycle. Marie Daly, who's the lead for the train operator for Transport for Wales, we work very closely together. We've got teams where there's healthy challenge amongst them, but ultimately the goals are the same. You've got to have that. You can't be at war. You've got to be thinking about that effort, conscious effort, how do you generate the best outcomes? Same with GWR. So what I've worked with GWR in Cardiff. We've now got train running controllers from GWR that work in the Cardiff Control Centre. Fantastic. They've been integrated with the team, and if you look at then, but they weren't there before. So it's about how do we run the best railway, and then work out what needs to be true for us to do that. We've got to do it together because the railway is a system.
For some reason, from where looking above, I feel like a lot of us tend to think that whenever there's delays or whatever, you have Network Rail and GWR all arguing about. This is your delay. No, this is your delay.
It's not like that. It's not like. I mean, what it's really important. I guess it's an important conversation. Yeah. When things go wrong, you need to know what the root cause is.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you know what the root cause is, you can fix it. That's commonly known as attribution. Okay. Right. So if you look at it, you could have a primary cause of delay. It could be a set of points has failed. Yeah. And you can fix that quite quickly. We don't always do that, but you can do that. But then if you look at how resilient is that system to a failure, if those schedules are tight and the crew rostering's tight and you've got no spare fleet, those delays, and you don't recover the service, those delays are going to get, you might have a 500-minute delay event that by the end of the day is a 5,000-minute because we haven't got the ability of the system to recover it. Yeah. So the root cause will be the points failed, but if you look at the kind of amplitude of failure, a whole mixture of things. We do something called an instant learning review, and when we get a delay event above 500 minutes, we'll get everyone together in a room and it's healthy challenge.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if it could, say for instance, for argument's sake, it was a Network Rail asset that broke. It broke. Let's learn about why it broke, stop it breaking. But what we'll say is, hang on, how was that event managed? Did the operational staff get there quickly? If you look at once it was fixed, how good were we at getting the trains back to time? What could we have done better? And that's the whole system at work, and you've got to do that.
When a recurring issue keeps happening, how do you approach it differently?
It depends what kind of issue it is, I'd say. I mean, a repeat event being trespass is quite difficult.
It's difficult, yeah.
But if you look at infrastructure, say for instance a set of points, if you get a repeat failure, there's a process that kicks in. We do more detailed inspections with more people, with more competence, deeper dive, and then what you have then is a kind of repeat failure prevention plan. So that's how we deal with repeat failures in certain locations. If you look at, say for instance, I mentioned about climate and flooding. Any repeat flood site gets an instant. So we've got something called a water management task force to make sure that we deal with flooding on the railway.
Yeah.
So anything that repeats, however small, gets a triggered, heightened level of scrutiny.
What major upgrades or improvements are planned that you're most excited about at the moment?
So in Wales and Borders, working with Transport for Wales, they are introducing the Cardiff Metro tram trains in the next year. I mean, the infrastructure work on the core valleys, which is a Welsh Government asset, that's virtually complete now. But that bringing to life the Cardiff Metro is literally going to happen next year. It's fantastic. But beyond that, the May timetable change next year in North Wales. We're uplifting the Transport for Wales timetable by 50%. So if you look at Holyhead, Bangor, Llandudno Junction, across to Liverpool, Manchester, Shrewsbury, West Midlands, South Wales, that timetable goes up by 50% in one step, and that's in May. But if you look at connectivity, fantastic. But we just launched last week. Transport for Wales are leading on it, but the funding's come via the Department of Transport and Network Rail and Cardiff Capital Region and the Welsh Government. £140 million enhancement of Cardiff Central Station. That's really exciting. So, Cardiff is a capital city. It needs to have a station that is a kind of flagship status, and we're going to work together with Transport for Wales and do that. But also, we, as a part of the comprehensive spending review, we've got nearly £300 million of other enhancement work that new stations between Cardiff and Bristol. If you look at Wrexham to Liverpool, creating a metro system there, a lot of growth opportunity that we're, genuinely, Transport for Wales have seen really good growth in the last year, and there's more to come. So it's good.
How important is innovation and digital technology in shaping the future?
Technology's coming, whether we like it or not, yeah? Yeah. So the railway is a naturally complicated place to innovate. It's a safety critical system after all. Exactly. But having said that, there is huge opportunity with technology in the future. And if you look at the challenges of running a punctual railway safely, that's growing, on assets that are getting older and that have got other risks like climate, we have to embrace technology to do that. But also, if you look at, the customer experience, for instance, if you look at through ticketing off multimodal transport, so you can come off a bus or a tram straight onto a train. If you look at how do we plan the railway system, all the different systems involved with running the whole system of a railway, technology is moving so fast. We should embrace that. So,
most important question, are you pro AI or you don't like AI? Like, do you use ChatGPT at all?
So,
what's your thoughts on it?
It's a great question. Yeah. The use of it's inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but I think what we should be doing is not being driven by AI. Okay. We should be assisted by AI. Yes, yeah. So if you look at it, genuinely, if we can do certain things more effectively, we can make better decisions based on insights that AI, can bring, then why wouldn't we use it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and certainly if you look at, we're a massively data-rich industry. If you can deploy that kind of technology to interrogate and make sense of that data so that you can make better decisions, fantastic.
Can you promise us that there's not going to be any like job losses because of AI?
I don't. So if I made that promise, it would be an incompetent answer. I just don't know. But one of the things that I worry about is if you look at the skills of the future railway workforce, where we're going to get them from, I worry about that. So if you look at how many people are going to be leaving the industry in the next 10 years, if you look at the age profiling of it, also if you look at the other choices that people have, we've got to work harder to attract and retain skills at all parts of the life cycle. You know, genuinely, we're doing work now with apprentices, but also preschool, but we're also doing graduate and Network 75, but also we're looking at people that have come out of the military or people that want a career after their families have grown up. We're doing lots of things in a conscious effort to, because we're worried about the future and where those skills are going to come from. So if AI helps me manage my portfolio of rails better, and Dave, who's fantastic, can use his effective effort driving reliability based on that, I'm not going to make Dave redundant. I get more of Dave. Fantastic.
All right. If someone has applied for a role like several times on the railway and they failed and just they feel there was hard done by on that occasion, what advice would you give them? Because along the road, I don't know whether it's definitely, I can imagine it's not been smooth sailing for you.
Never.
I can imagine you've had interviews where it didn't go well, but I feel like obviously everyone handles disappointments differently. So what would you say for somebody who's maybe went in for an interview and it hasn't gone well and they're just feeling very hard done by, maybe even taking it personal? But you know, that interviewee had infamy. That interviewer, had infamy.
But when you think about what is the most likely way to be successful when you're in that circumstance, complaining about it is going to get you nowhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably people are going to stop listening to you because they won't want to. One of the things, I mean, I've spent the last 3 years distilling 35 years of what I would tell my younger self, having had 35 years in the railway. I've got a list. Okay. One of them is never give up. I've been shown the door, I've been told I'm not good enough, I've been told all of those things so many times, right? And I just think, that's your view, it's not my view, all right? And you should always back yourself. I know sometimes that's quite difficult, you can get self-doubt. I'm not for 1 minute saying, you know, that doesn't happen, but you know you better than anyone else. Who is it, how is it somebody else is right to tell you you're not good enough? And the reality is they may not even be saying that. You know, you should never give up. Never. It's always possible. It may not be at that moment, but if you give up, you'll never know. Keep going. You should always back yourself. I think also you should listen to feedback, but only the feedback that's useful to you. Okay. There'll be some feedback, and you've got to kind of synthesise it. And some of the feedback you'll think, it might be well intended, but I don't agree with it, but that's okay. But there'll be other feedback that's absolutely priceless. And it's the ability to kind of filter through, not create self-doubt because of the unhelpful feedback to you. It's the ability to kind of continuously improve, never give up.
So just never give up and
never
just
give up.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing I think about is there will be some people that have done that job that have been successful in that job. My view would be always invest your time and your conscious effort in maximising the chance of success. So I would spend time. You could get to know people that have been successful in that job and understand why. How did they do it? If you look at the employing managers, ask to go and speak to them. Maximise your chances. Don't spend time looking at the floor. Don't give up. All
right, if a new starter joined your route, what's the first thing you would want them to understand about working safely?
Safety's not a given, and you get what you deserve. And that's quite a harsh statement. But if you look at it, you can make a considerable difference to safe outcomes. You should do that. So I would say to anyone who's new in the railway industry, if you're not sure or you don't understand, stop, put your hand up and ask. And if you're still not happy, do it again. And if that carries on and you're still not happy, give me a ring. Let's chat it through. Because I'd much rather people stop work for a good reason if they're not sure than carry on and do something that's regrettable.
If your route suffered a major disruption overnight, what would the first hour of your response typically look like?
I guess there is an order to it. So the very first thing I'd want to understand is, if you look at how that incident, the command and control of it, we rehearse that a lot in Wales and Borders. Rail incident commanders, tactical incident commanders. If you look at it, how do we... So what I'd want to make sure is, first things first, has that command and control operation mobilised? Because if it has, as a leader, it gives you the ability then to think about other things. So the other thing about a significant incident, it could go on more than one day. So you need to think about very quickly, because there is a tendency to kind of crowd round a problem and then 12 hours later everyone's tired. So you need to think about, if that's going to go on for multiple days, make sure that you've got that command and control. That is a split-second conversation. I would ring up the rail incident commander and say, please talk me through what is happening, what's your plan? And once you've got that means you can then, right, okay, who do I need to talk to reassure? So for me personally, once I know that command and control, if you look, and that command and control would then obviously deal with the incident, the people, all that, you know that's happening. I would speak to significant stakeholders. So it could be politicians, it could be train operator directors, it could be the emergency services, it could be British Transport Police. Depending on the nature, we would mobilise our communications team very quickly. So I think the quicker we can get information out about what's happening, the better. Even if that information is, do not travel, or expect this level of service for this long, and we'll update you at that point. So at least then you're not making the problem worse for people travelling, towards a problem. Yeah. So sometimes that feels like it takes hours to do, but I would say very quickly after a significant incident happens, those checks and balances can be made. And then really, I have had this. So we had a serious incident in Mid Wales last year. At first light, I went there. I gave the media interviews. I met the emergency responders, and I think there's a certain symbolism in that. And spoke to those people, thanked them, gave the news media interviews in person. Made myself accountable, reassured people that we'll get to the bottom of whatever the problem is, and you've got to do that. So those sorts of things I've had to do in real life more than once as well.
All right, what's the one thing the public would be surprised to learn about your job?
I would say, to the untrained eye, even my family don't understand this, by the way, if you look at the range of different things I deal with in one day, I think people would be very surprised about the huge range of things that you get involved with in one day. I could be talking about a simple maintenance task that costs tens or hundreds of pounds. I could be talking about a £1 billion enhancement programme. I could be talking to a political stakeholder ahead of an election. I could be, the huge range of things, dealing with trades unions, performance improvement plans, future investment papers. I could go on and on, one-to-ones with people, professional development conversation. It's just huge. But I actually enjoy that. I thrive on that. So, but I don't, my family don't know. And I don't really take my job home. If I talked about trains at home, anyway, I don't. My family, and I would say the public, unless you, and you're going to come and spend the day with me, yeah?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So you'll think, hang on a minute, what's Nick doing now? Why are you doing that? But genuinely, you've got to juggle quite a lot of things. And even when I've been sat here giving this interview, something would have happened that I don't know yet. I'll find out in a minute.
All right. Anyways, briefly give us like what does your life look like outside of the railway? Give
So
us
on
an
Saturdays,
insight
for instance, I have 2 daughters. I, for many years, will watch them play hockey.
Nice.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I actually like the game. You know, watching the game. It's a fast game. But I.
You're not one of them parents like criticising the sideline.
No, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. But I enjoy the game, and I think it's important for them to see that they've got that moral and love and support.
Yeah.
So I do that.
That's nice. You're an active dad then, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
When I get home from work, and I don't know if I'm different to anyone else, but there's normally a list of things that need doing. Right, so in fairness, you know, if you're going to book a holiday or something needs fixing or moving, you spend some time doing that. Exercise is mega important. I know when I haven't got that right. I can feel my kind of mood going down if I don't re-energise it. So exercise, I love park run. So Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, every Saturday, park run. Half an hour, done. I actually volunteer as well. So this Saturday I'm going to be a run director at Park Run. 500 people, 5 kilometres. So volunteering, exercise. I haven't drunk for a year.
That's good. Wow.
And why did I do that? I think the job is really quite intense, and I get tired. And what I found was, I mean, you can't drink with a job anyway. But if you go home on a Friday and you open a bottle of wine, or you know, it could be you've got a rugby match on a Saturday afternoon, you want to go and watch it with some friends. But what I was finding is that I'm tired, but that wasn't helping. So I chose not to drink. So that's been an interesting year. That's probably the subject of a different interview, but.
You're not the only one. I don't drink as well, so
no.
Yeah.
So I walk the South West Coastal Path. So I live near it. I like travelling. You know, I like travelling and seeing things. I ski. I grew up in a fishing village. Go fishing. So I've never got a shortage of things to do.
What was your childhood like? Just tell us the stages before the railway, before you joined the railway, because you've spent such a long time in the railway.
Yeah.
There must be. I'm curious to see what Nick was like, what your childhood was like prior to 16. You said joined you when you're 16?
16, yeah.
Yeah, what was briefly, just summarise that, what was your life like prior, everything that you can remember, prior to 16 and joining the railway?
My perception of it might be different to other people, the way they saw me, which is fair enough. But you've asked me the question, so I can answer it. But no, genuinely, I grew up, my mum and dad were married. I have a brother and a sister. I'm the middle of the 2.
Silver spoon sort of upbringing, or?
No, mum and dad had the money.
Okay. I was always curious about that, sorry.
In fact, genuinely, nothing like that. They both worked hard. My mum died when I was quite young.
Oh, sorry about that.
And I went through school not really knowing what I was going to do. I wanted to do enough to get out of school as soon as I could. I didn't really have a sense of direction, not a solid sense of direction. I had a kind of, I'm going to be a chartered engineer, but that was a kind of a faint North Star, but it became very vivid in my late teens. But like you said, as a childhood, I had good friends at primary school, I had good friends at secondary school.
I think you've covered it well. I think the problem, you're like the average person that looks up as someone like yourself, like a route director, I don't know, I feel like we tend to just think, do you know what, this person grew up like silver spoon, mum and dad was wealthy upbringing, like you just assume they're not relatable, if that makes sense.
So I have a go at that again? Yeah. So my dad was in the RAF, and he married my mum in the 60s. I'm one of 3 children. My mum and dad never had any real money. They both worked really hard. I admire them for that. They always put food on the table, even when they didn't have a lot of money. They worked hard to look after me and my brother and my sister, and I'm very grateful for that. I went to a primary school in Devon, and I went to a comprehensive school, one of the biggest ones in Europe. Not that makes any difference, but I kept a low profile, I think. I didn't really know what I was going to do until I did, which I think is the same for everybody. And that came when I got my apprenticeship offer. And that gave me a new tribe, a new sense of direction, a new purpose, a new plan. But I mean, genuinely, my mum and dad, like I said, my mum died when I was relatively young.
I think it's nice knowing that you're relatable because, like I said, that I guess you can relate to a lot of people with humble beginnings and just not having in a way. Yeah.
But even my early years on the railway, I worked on rosters, I fixed machinery, I worked nights. I did years of that. I really enjoyed it. And so people ask me, would you go back? I'm like, yeah.
I've got a question for you, actually. Yeah. Considering, when you come from mum and dad don't have much and you come from humble beginnings, do you feel like growing up, like your decision, obviously you said you wanted to be a chartered engineer, do you feel like what you want to do, you can compromise? Sometimes I feel like you compromise what you want to do because it's almost like you're just thinking of, I want to make money, but it's almost like, have you ever compromised or you felt like you needed to compromise what you wanted to do because you just wanted to make money because of the way you grew up, if that makes sense?
I've never thought about the money.
What I will say is, though, I feel like, not everyone, but due to the way you grow up, sometimes I feel like some people can have that view. What would you say to that?
I've come across people with that view, and I guess one thing I reflect on is if you look at comparisons, often bring disappointment. There's always someone who's got more and there's always someone who's got less.
That's true.
So you're betwixt, aren't you? Yeah. I've never done that. I don't compare myself with others. I don't think it's a helpful mindset. In the most part, I choose to do what I think I'm going to enjoy. The money will look after itself. I guess anecdotally, or affectionately rather, my family at home will always spend more than I've got. Yeah. So I might as well do what I enjoy. Yeah,
that's so true, actually.
And I genuinely do that as well. Yeah. So if you look at the things I've done, I've not been driven by the money.
No, I'm happy you said that because I feel like, especially in this day and age, like we said about social media, it's like if you just scroll through social media, it's very easy for a young person to...
It's really bring happiness.
Yeah, that's true.
And the reality is, it may do to some. It depends what your values are, doesn't it? What do you value? Yeah. But I mean, for me, you pass in this life once, and you can choose to enjoy yourself, doing things that you enjoy. And hey, listen, life's hard sometimes. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park. It isn't. But as much as I'm able to, choose to do things I enjoy. I mean, another thing this is a core belief in me as well, is I believe in serving others. I believe that's a...
Are you religious?
No.
Okay.
I was brought up in a Church of England school, but I'm not. No, I'm not religious. But I believe in service. So if you look at, I'm here to serve people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I do think like that. And when I say service to the people that deliver the railway every day and the people that the railway delivers for. Yeah. So that's an act. If you look at what I do with Parkrun, volunteering and other volunteering that I've done as well, I think for me, I do stuff for no money. This week I've done something for no money where I'm helping people that are in prison get released on temporary licence and get into paid work, meaningful work. I get paid nothing for that, but I want to do it. That's an act of service, and I think it's important.
So would you say for, obviously, the young person joining the railway who's looking at a particular role and thinking, do you know what, that gets paid well, I want to do that.
If you're driven by money, listen, I'm not sure in the railway industry you'll get to where you want to get to with that. I mean, if you want to go and earn loads of money, there's other ways of earning loads of money that might be higher likelihood than the railway industry. But that said, you need enough money to live, by the way. I get that. I completely get that. So, and there are times where, my wife and I have either not had enough money or we've got enough money. And there are times where, one thing I've learned with 3 kids is, their needs go before mine. Having said that, I've had a good life. I can't complain, ever. And I wouldn't anyway. There's no point. And I wouldn't. So, but going back to what you said there about being focused purely on money, some of these jobs aren't for the faint-hearted. They're quite high pressure. They're quite intense. They're quite diverse in terms of the subject material. They're relentless. You get tired.
I don't know if
some people thrive on that. I do. It wouldn't matter. You could get paid 10 times the salary of somebody who's doing that job. If you're not thriving in it and enjoying it, why would you do it?
Why would you do it? True.
So I think, genuinely, I've seen people chase that almost like a mirage of money. You only pass this way once in life. Enjoy as much of it as you can.
Yeah, true. Yeah, one thing the railways taught me, I think you probably agree to this, and I feel like the railways taught me this anyway. Sometimes I feel like, I know everyone, like you said, you got family to feed or whatever, but sometimes you might find that relocating can actually solve a lot of problems, and I think that's one thing where we're all fortunate, people that do work on the railway. Relocating can actually make a big difference. So what do you think of that in terms of, you might be working a different particular role, and I think relocating might be an issue, not money being an issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there are some really expensive places to live.
This is it.
And there's some places that are very beautiful to live.
Yeah.
And there are some places where you can strike a balance between all of that and have a job that you enjoy.
Well, what would you rather do? Have a job that you enjoy and live in an area which is good but is cheaper, or have a job that you don't enjoy and get paid more but live in an area?
Very, very easy answer. I'd always do what I enjoy.
Oh, okay.
That was genuinely, it's a really easy answer for me. You spend a lot of time at work, and I don't also think, if you're not enjoying it, I don't think you'll be very good at it. You can't hide that. I can't hide that. If I'm not enjoying myself, people know I'm not enjoying myself. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. But there are trade-offs. There may be somewhere that you want to go and explore, go and live for 5 years, get to know an area, and the railway industry can give you the opportunity to have paid employment and move and do that, which is great. When I was younger, I was agile. I could make those change choices. It was up to me. But when you've got a family and you've got children, it becomes a little bit more complicated. I personally chose to keep my wife and my children steady, stable, in one place, in a place where they felt safe and happy. And if they're safe and happy, the reality is then I could go and... So I've worked in Birmingham, I've worked in Bristol, I've worked in Swindon, I've worked in Reading, Cardiff now. But if I knew that they were safe and they were happy, it gave me a great degree of freedom to do that. Hey, listen, I travel, I work a long day and I travel a lot. And I love to go back to see them, of course I do. But if it's for somebody else, if the question is how would somebody else deal with it, I think there are trade-offs everywhere. But if you look at genuinely, what is your plan? If your plan is that you want to get on in life and you've got a certain thing you want to get to, or you want to go and see a certain place or live, or you want to have a family or get married or whatever it is, I don't know, whatever your plan is. Without a plan, you haven't got a plan, have you? So make a plan, whatever that plan is, for the reasons that you want to make the plan for, and then go and do it. I mean, procrastination will probably get you not very far.
Yeah, true. Let's say you employ someone. Do you have a look at their social media or and stuff like that? And also, as an employee applying for a job, so if you're applying for a job, I can imagine it's very... What would you say to people in terms of their digital footprint, just in general, like the importance of how to make yourself look, or things to consider?
I think everyone's got to think about, with whatever you do, it's discoverable in a digital world. And that's not a problem. providing you're conscious of that. So it may be that you've got a belief that's extreme, and if that's what you stand for, you stand for it. But you've stood for it, and you can't then not stand for it because you've stood for it.
Exactly.
And if you certainly put that digital footprint down, that's what the perception of you will be. So you've got to think about that. And I think, we live in this world now where social media is, in terms of influence, is very big.
Very big, yeah.
And I think my advice would be to people is to choose. I mean, some people choose to be silent, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah. Some people use it. I do. But I am mindful. I like to tell stories. I like to tell positive stories. I have certain principles that I hold dearly. Safety, railway people, my support for the railway industry. If someone looked at my social media profile, they'll learn about me quite quickly.
Yeah.
And that's okay because that's me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So my social media profile is that. But
I guess make sure it's a true reflection of yourself in a way.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing as well is you should think about what would other people think about it. And if you're not worried, you're not worried until you are worried. Yeah.
Be aware of the repercussions.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, certainly, I would very much say to people, hey, listen, I don't go trawling people's social media footprints. I don't do that. Okay. But we are government employees. We work in a safety critical business, and there are, genuinely, you should think about everything that's online is discoverable. And therefore, you should think about that. It's nothing to be frightened about, but you should at least be conscious of it. And if you're happy with your footprint, then you're happy with it. But if you should genuinely think about what perception are you creating for others in you.
Because I guess that could be the difference sometimes, whether you get a job or whether you're in employment, in a way.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things I stand by is every interaction is an opportunity, isn't it? If you genuinely tell the story that you are upbeat, you are open-minded, you enjoy solving problems, you can create a positive difference in society and for a business, guess what will happen then? People will see that and they'll think, But if you were to support views that might be a problem to an employer, then you've done that. I mean, the other thing I think about as well on social media as well, I mean, there's some things, I respect difference. I get people challenge me and I think that's okay, they've challenged me. That's okay, I don't mind that. I might have different views, but it's okay, we can be different, it's fine. So, and there's no point, going into, some sort of keyboard exchange about it. I actually quite like difference. I think difference is important. I also think debate's important. So, dialogue and debate is genuinely necessary. And disagreeing agreeably, if you like, is also a good thing. People have different perspectives, different origins. That's okay. And we should be okay with that.
Nick, I really appreciate it.